Hello, Jason. Welcome to Milan. Welcome to Linea Rock. Okay, cool.
This is weird. I'm gonna stop singing. Hi.
Hi. Welcome back to Milan and welcome to Linea Rock. So, The Wrong Side of Heaven and Righteous Side of Hell, Volume 2, is out now.
Yes.
Can you explain how this album stand on its own, but at the same time belong together with Volume 1, which came out 7 months ago, 8 months ago?
Well, that's a good question. We originally didn't plan on having 2 records.
Yeah.
We were just entering the studio to do record number 4.
Okay.
And I think what made it different for us is that we'd actually come in prepared for record number 4. We had written a bunch of songs on the road and came in with maybe 8 or 9 ideas. And in essence, what that did is that put us way ahead of schedule. So within a few weeks, we already had almost 9 songs ready, And so we were like, well, that was fast. What should we do? Well, I guess, we had the time booked and we thought, let's keep writing and see what we get. And,
Okay.
Before you know it, we're at 19, 20 songs. And we were trying to decide how do we want to deal with all this material. And so, after a few conversations, we decided let's make a double record. So the original idea was to have 2 albums hit on the same day.
Okay.
Like Volume 1 and 2 was going to be the same release day.
Like Guns N' Roses did with Use Your Illusion.
Use Your Illusion 1 and
1
2.
and 2,
Exactly, because
yeah.
that's that makes a statement. That has impact. And then then we kind of toyed around with different potential ideas of how to do stagger the record, same day, do it like this, do it like that. Basically, the label said, I think it'd be a much better idea to stagger the releases, and that way we could have one out now, and you guys could focus on that, and then by Christmas time we drop the second one, and people can complete the package. And we're like, yeah, okay, that sounds pretty good.
And how did you decide which songs will feature on part 1 and which ones on the 2?
Well, look at these people over here. Hello. We wanted to shuffle the deck, in essence, so that both records had equal weight and feel, We didn't want to have one record be the really aggressive record and then the next record be the, kind of the radio-friendly melodic record. We wanted to sort of spread the songs out evenly so that it sounded like one big, consistent, flavor. And so it was, we didn't actually divide the songs up until the very last moment, where, we weren't sure what songs would land on each record. We did it at the last minute.
All right. And why at this point of your career, a so massive amount of music, in the creative process? Why now?
Why now?
Yeah.
Why now? Well, I think we kind of look at it like, it's a different day and age. I think the kids' attention span is sort of divided. There's so many people coming with new music, and we wanted to do something that was fresh for us. And I think it's just an age of mass consumption. People just want as much as they can get now. And to add to that, we're for the most part we're all sober, so you can get twice the amount of work done when you're not waking up in a fog every day.
But usually, bands can get intimidated by success.
Yeah.
It was in your case. I mean, you are very prolific and creative anyway.
Well, it's a good question, actually, because people always say, the last record was, successful, and does that freak you out? Or I think that, for me personally, I just block it out. I don't think about that. I always think there's room for improvement. We do a record and it sells gold. To me, it's like, okay, well, why don't we try to write the one that should go platinum? Gold is okay. Actually, gold is pretty good. But yeah, you kind of have to just mentally block. You have to block those thoughts, because if you focus on, what if,
Yeah.
then you can't really be at your best potential.
Are you completely satisfied of both volumes?
Mhm.
Is there anything that you would do differently now?
No, actually, I mean, I think it was, it was a little bit more loose as far as the kind of things we could experiment with. When you're trying to put a package together or of 10 or 11, 12 songs, to develop a flow with such a short list is tricky. But when you have 25 songs, now we can have, an instrumental, we can have there's a spoken word type thing on there, there's a piano song, there's this kind of song, there's a cover song here, there's a cover song over there. I thought it was a little easier, to be honest.
Okay. And what is your personal wrong side of heaven and the right side of hell?
Well, the wrong side of heaven for me is paying income tax, and the righteous side of hell is being on tour with Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh, wow. All your previous albums reached the gold mark in the US.
Yeah.
And all your singles ended up in the top 10. You're not feeling, let's say, any crises or lows in a period which is really bad all around the world. The economy is not so good. So this is a rare privilege, let's say, in the music industry. Trying to analyze it from the outside, what makes Five Finger Death Punch so strong and infectious, in your opinion? I mean, are you aware of being so cool?
Are we? Yeah. I think, I think that we connect with people on levels that are outside of just the music. There's it's more of a movement. I think people are into, when the band started, it was very striking visually, and I'm not talking about so much the guys, but I'm talking about the branding of it, the strength of the graphics and the knuckleheads and the color and the jerseys and it was just presented in a very bold way. And I think that because it was striking, I think it just grabbed a lot of people, because typically metal is always, muted, dark, black, you know what I mean? Like, it's all muted. And when we came out, we were like, fuck muted. Let's be exaggerated. Let's be vibrant, I mean, we're still aggressive, but it's like you have to stimulate the eyes to get the brain working.
Okay, that's a good point.
And that's kind of what we went for, and it grabbed people.
Right.
And sometimes with every great risk can come great reward.
All right. This time you recorded The House of the Rising Sun. In the past, you already covered another great old school classic, Bad Company. So we can take it maybe as a statement of your roots being in the classic rock scene, because the message maybe is not so instant because you're a new metal band, but
serenading your question.
You're picking in the classic. So it seems at first sight maybe they seem two different, very distant worlds, but they're not. So how can you explain they're not opposite? The classic rock and what you're doing.
Very good, by the way. I must compliment you.
Thank you very much.
I think that when we first got into this idea of let's cover some other material, all of the typical choices come up. Let's do an Iron Maiden song, or let's do a Black Sabbath song, or let's do like all the predictable type, like metal covers metal.
Yeah.
Not that special. And then, these other classic songs, such as Bad Company, I mean, these songs were successful on a global level. But I don't think any metal band would dare go near it because it's not associated with heavy metal. But if you can take a classic song, I mean, these are basically just chord changes and melodies and lyrics. You can take that content and convert it into something heavy metal. It can still work. It can still touch the nerve with people, even though it's been wrapped up in a different coating, you know? And again, it's one of those things where people were like, wait, let me get this straight, you're going to cover what? Right?
Yes.
But it was one of our biggest charting songs, and still is one of the most popular songs we have. So, again, it just comes from the fearlessness of taking risks.
Did you shoot a video out of it?
For Bad Company?
No, for the House of the Rising Sun.
Matter of fact, we did.
Yeah.
We did, in fact. We just finished it. I mean, we were just watching the edits last night, the final edits, and it's interesting. We haven't done a proper video in a long time. Okay. Videos are tough. It's tough because you're working all the time, either on the road or you're working in the studio, and then when you get a week or two of downtime, you're like, oh my God, I just need to rest. I'm so tired. And then somebody calls and goes, don't forget we have to shoot a video, and you go,
really?
I'm gonna fucking kill you. Anyway, we spent 3 days in the Nevada desert.
Okay.
And we got all this really cool kind of rat rod type cars and trucks and motorcycles, and it's all like post-apocalyptic type clothing, and it's really crazy. And that's it. It's gonna. I mean, it should be out by the time this interview is aired. Yeah.
Good. So you joined the band in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
What happened exactly? Did you do an audition? You were friends with the guys? Because you've been very popular also before, and they were popular as well. So how did it happen?
God, I love her questions. They're incredible. Well, thank you for the compliment, because I never really looked at myself as being popular before. But anyway, I've been friends with those guys for a long time.
Okay.
I'd like to. It really is that simple. I mean, Jeremy and I have known each other since the mid '90s.
Okay.
And we've done a lot of music together before Death Punch, and it was really Jeremy and Zoltan kind of found each other, and it was the two of them that really started Five Finger Death Punch. And I was always friends with them and encouraging them and supporting this new band that they were doing. Yeah. Not really understanding that I was going to be in it, but when it started to turn into what it is, then I was like, man, I really would like to be in this. But at the time, I was out touring with somebody, and they had another guitar player, so I was like, all right, well, it's not going to happen. Good for my friends.
Okay.
But I got lucky, Mm-hmm. The other guitar player wasn't working out, and they were like, well, what about Jason? And I'm like, yeah, what about Jason?
Okay.
And they called me, and I said, yeah, I'm ready, let's do it.
And is it maybe more difficult to join a band, that has already a career, huge success, and, can have your voice in what they do? I mean, you came in the picture after quite a while, so... Yeah,
no, I mean, the timing was perfect, I think, for everybody, specifically me. I mean, had Five Finger Death Punch maybe established greater success, I mean, keep in mind, it was still just Way of the Fist, they were on the first album cycle.
Yeah.
Had the thing turned into what it is now, I'm sure there would be no room to come in as, an equal partner. I wanted to make records. I was very clear about what I wanted. I mean, I was prepared to make all the sacrifices. I didn't care about money. I didn't need to get paid anything. I just wanted to be in a band, but as an equal band member.
Okay.
Specifically, my heart was always into writing and recording music. I was doing it lots of years before Five Finger Death Punch. So I was very clear about, if I come in, I want to be included on the creative team.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, yeah, we had the same idea. So that was great for for me.
So this time is very different than the Bullet Boys, Vince Neil Band, Alice
Oh,
Cooper.
we can stop there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very
Well,
different.
very different, yeah. I mean, quite clearly, I spent time touring around with these other artists as a hired gun.
Yeah.
And, and that, I learned a lot from doing that work. But that what you figure out is that you really miss the fact that it's not about you. Like you're watching all this fantastic stuff and you're sitting front row to all this special treatment and all this glamour, but it has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
So you kind of have that yearning, like, God, what if it could have been me?
And which is your best memory of the Alice Cooper days?
Yeah.
That is very
quitting.
crazy. Quitting, okay. Okay. So you had a lot of special guests on Volume 1. Which collaboration turned out the best, in your opinion, and having been a session player in LA circuit, as we said before, so many years, were you maybe the hook to reach all those guests?
I think my favorite collaboration on Volume 1 would have to be Tech 9 coming in for Mama Said Knock You Out.
Okay.
Because that falls into that, taking some chances. Rap, metal, he's successful, but he's rap, right? And then we covered this old LL Cool J song. But I think, I think his contribution was magic.
Okay.
It really, I mean, that's stuff that we're not so familiar with, and it was like, wow, that's really cool,
You play also drums, piano, and violin. Why guitar became your weapon of a choice, and how can you explain why a so large and various musical training and formation can be crucial also in rock and roll music?
Well, I think, I always thought, in the beginning, I thought I was going to be a drummer. For me, I spent a lot of time working on my drum kit at home, but then I realized that every time I wanted to jam with my friends, my poor father, we'd have to pack all these drums up and squeeze them into the small car and then deliver them to somebody else's basement, set the crap all back up again. I thought, maybe guitar is a better idea.
I'm a drummer, I know
right?
what you're talking about.
I loved playing the drums. I think that any guitar player that used to be a drummer has that extra appreciation and handle on rhythms and the importance of rhythm. So, like Eddie Van Halen was a drummer, right? So, I mean, it definitely, I'm glad things worked out the way they did. I do like the idea of being able to run up to the front of the stage and stick my tongue out and, get all, close to the people. Can't really do that with the drums.
Okay. Last November you played Milan with Avenged Sevenfold at the Forum, and it was a hell of a show. Totally packed, very hot. Which was your impression of the Italian knuckleheads?
Oh, I was surprised and grateful. I was impressed, I find that, we came over in 2009 for the Defenders of the Faith tour. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And it was just operating at such a small level back then that it really is nice to now see it growing, and thank God it's growing. Because it's a long way for us to come over here. If it wasn't growing, it would certainly be a little harder emotionally. But it's nice to see that the thing is, getting bigger and people are catching on, and it's just I feel pretty lucky, and I think Italy. Italy is a very, I sense that there's a cool thing happening with us and the fans. Okay. Yeah, I mean there was kids sitting on the sidewalk today at 7 a.m.
Yes, I know. This time you brought Pop Evil as an opening act, a band which recorded already 3 albums, but they are pretty unknown in Europe, since their album never been released here. Why this choice? Because usually, maybe you tend to choose a band that can bring more people, but that is a courageous choice.
I think that, to be completely honest with you, there's probably some reason, but all these bands need to be helped, you know.
Okay.
We were helped. It's our turn to help other people. I think that, you know, Pop Evil, they've had some tremendous success in America on the radio. And so, you know, they needed to come over here and start working, you know, Europe like we have been. And so we figured, okay, well, we'll throw them on.
Okay,
You know.
that's great. So you have big passion for motorcycles. I know about it, and I know you like Kiss a lot.
I do.
You just did an Ace Frehley tattoo, is that correct? And
I
that
did.
was televised or something. Can you tell us more about it?
Well, you know, the Kiss was really sort of the first thing I ever. It was the first, you know, music that I was exposed to. My next door neighbor came over and said, "Here, take these. My mother won't let me keep them." And there was a stack of Kiss records.
Okay.
And you know, I instantly fell in love with the music, and Ace Frehley, you know, my favorite guitar player. I just thought he was awesome with his style, and what can I say? You know, it stuck.
Okay.
It stuck like it did with millions of people, and now Ace Frehley is literally stuck on my leg because I had him tattooed on there.
On your leg. And
Yeah.
you used also the Iceman guitars, Paul Stanley model.
I did. I do own a few Icemans, and I tried to make that sort of my thing because I play Explorers, right?
Yeah.
But I tried to make the Iceman my thing, but it's kind of a weird lopsided, like it kind of it's like front heavy, you know, neck heavy. So I thought, you know what? No.
Okay. Last thing, is that true that you're already working on the 6th studio album, and do you have any live DVD in the plans?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, we are already planning and writing the next record. We're kind of, you know, we like to work hard. You know, it's exciting when you get, you know, when things start to develop momentum and people like the group, and it's like it's a buzz. You get, you know, it's like it's a drug. You know, it's like we want to do more, and you know, we're kind of overachievers by nature. So why stop? Always move forward, and we're planning that next record right now.
Great. So thanks very much,
You're very
Jason.
welcome.
And see you hopefully very soon. You've been here 4 months ago. Now you're here again. So
Ciao, bella.
I hope you will be back soon again. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.